welcome back to the channel again today for another video on GT Sport. It's just a very quick update that there is a new game update that is going to be arriving Thursday morning for GT Sport. It's going to be patch 1.20 and it's going to be mainly a fix for the issue that 1.19 caused for if you had multiple PlayStations with the same profile on them. It was wiping the garage, so all your cars were disappearing, and it's just going to fix that bug to stop it happening again. It's probably not going to replace anyone's car. I can't believe it. As you can see there, a maintenance notice has gone on the game that between 5 in the morning and 7 in the morning UK time, set on the 7th of June, so Thursday, there's going to be a maintenance period, and then after the maintenance an update will arrive on the game. So this update is mainly going to include that fix, which we'll have a little look at in a minute, what that, the main reason for that. However, I think there's going to be more to this patch, very slightly more, nothing content based, because we've just had a big update. But as you can see there, this was before that maintenance period about the multiple PlayStations causing an issue where you logged on both of them and it was wiping the garage of all your cars, so you were losing all them cars, and I can't see them being able to replace them cars or fix the issue that the cars will return. It's very unlikely, I don't know, but maybe they should give people some credits. Every single person logged on the game gets either 5 million credits or 10 million credits just to buy themselves a few cars again, because it would be massively frustrating to have to work and get all them cars again. Just something just to get themselves started. I think it would make a difference to most of the people that have got the garages, all their cars, because we've all still got plenty of cars and a little bit of extra money. We might buy some other cars as well. I just think that'd be a nice little gesture they could make to help people out that lost all them cars. However, what also might be included in this update is a possibility of, as I think this update was probably already planned, because the FIA season is due to start on the 15th, around the 15th of June, so midway through June. This update could be bringing in the leaderboards that we all put our information in when 1.19 arrived. You would have remembered that all the information was there for our age and where we lived, etc. And a lot of that is to do with leaderboards, and I think it's going to be to do with some championships that they run. Possibly, it could be some separate championships that only certain people can enter. That's a possibility. This obviously isn't guaranteed. This is just, the chances are that this might happen, because obviously this patch 1.20 might have already been planned before the FIA official season starts, because we all know that the FIA official season is starting mid-June. It was stated on the website, it's stated in the game, and it kind of makes sense that they'd introduce another patch just before that comes out to implement anything that they need to implement before that starts, including the leaderboards, like I talk about, for different locations where you live and your age and stuff. But what I would really like to see is some more. I want more than just the FIA championships of racing, because the FIA championships are great and we all want to race them, but I feel like this game needs some other championships, something based on your age, separate age championships where they could run, for a few weeks racing just a certain set class of car, maybe like a Group 4 championship, a Group 3 championship, a Group 2 championship, and it would be really nice to do them. I think it would get a lot more people racing on the game, because, the daily races are great and that, but there's no real you're not battling for any sort of championship, You want to be able to have, if it could be done in a way similar to iRacing, where they can have these races that you can enter more than once, even if it was only just once like the FIA. I mean, that would be okay, but you could have it where you're able to race more than one race. They could have these championships running separately as a separate race that you could enter. It's a single like a single class race, so just Group 3 races for that championship and Group 4 for that championship, and you can race them as many times as you want each location whenever it's at a certain track. So if it's on for 2 days or a week, they could even have the same track on for a week. You can race it as many times as you want, and it kind of averages your 3 best results. That's what iRacing does. It's on for a week and you just race as many times as you want, and it kind of works out what your point should be based on an average. So it takes away your worst and your best, I think, and then averages it out so that you get like an average score for that week. And I think this would be a good idea for GT Sports. You could have the daily races that change every day. You could have a set championship for Group 3, Group 4, Group 2 cars, etc., and then they can be raced all week whenever you want to enter them, and just have a proper championship to race for. And it doesn't have to be FIA based. They can just be just there just for fun competition, just as try and get to the top of every couple of weeks, every say month or so, if it's like a race, same race every week, and just take your 3 best results or something. Even if it was on for 2 months, like iRacing's are on for 3 months, and it takes your 8 best results from 12 weeks. It's something that I think GT Sport needs to do to add some more variety into the game, and maybe they could make these races a little bit more realistic in terms of length and, you know, the settings within the game. So, you know, reducing the tyre wear down to ×1 and putting the fuel wear on ×1, but then forcing a pit stop. There is an option to do it. I've seen it in the options. There is an option to force a pit stop for these races. You can see it in the settings. So why they can't do that and just force a pit stop so that you have to change tyres, even if you don't have to change fuel, for, like, say, make the races 40 minutes long. And some people wouldn't like this, obviously, but then you've got the daily races for them people that just want to race, you know, the quick short races with the exaggerated tyre wear, etc. But just adding these other races for the people that want to race these long races. I personally want to race more endurance based races that last for 30 to 40 minutes, and I think there's a lot of other people out there. I think Polyphony are underestimating how much people want to do this. You know, I know console racers, some of them don't want to do that. They just want these quick fire races. They just want to get in and race. But I think that there is a lot of percentage of racers on console that want to be racing similar races like iRacing, where it's a 40-minute race, an hour race. They want to be doing endurance stuff. I would love it if they came up there was a race on there that was a 90-minute race, and, you know, forced pit stop and stuff like that, and real settings. So, and you can maybe they could keep it so it's default setups, but allow different sets of tyres to add strategy in there. I just think there's so many possibilities with GT Sport at the moment. I think they're kind of restricting themselves a little bit, but hopefully some things can change. Maybe, you know, this could happen on this update where they're going to bring some leaderboards in, and there could be some other championships. I do not know, but it's a possibility. It'll be interesting to see on Thursday when this update goes up, whether it is just purely just to fix that bug, or whether it's some implementation of some stuff to do with the FIA, which there is a chance of with the FIA season starting very soon. Anyway, I just wanted to get this video out just to let everyone be aware of obviously what's coming to the game, this update, and also talk to you guys about what I think needs to happen with this game. And I really would like to hear your opinion on what I'm saying, because I think if they did this, it would bring a lot of people back into the game. And also I think that another thing with having longer races is you find the racing will become a little bit more settled, because in these 8-lap races, 10-lap races, people just want to get to the front and win because they've only got 8 laps. If it's an hour race or a 90-minute race, I definitely would still race these races, and I think there's a lot of other drivers out there that would do these. And you would find that, you know, if you don't have to go for that move all the time. I think racers would be a little bit more patient. I know I would be, even though I'm quite patient anyway. I would be even more patient. I would take my time, and I would be more like looking for that gap to happen, you know, from a mistake, and it would just feel a bit more real than some of these races where you drive for 4 laps and your tyres are gone. I'm not a massive fan of that, but it does make some great racing and some fun, you know, short races. But I would love it if they just started to implement some more realistic longer races into this game, and I'd just like to hear your opinion. So make sure you leave in the comments what you think about that. You know, obviously I'm not saying to get rid of the short races. I think they should keep the daily race A, B and C the way it is, but what I also think is they need to add some variety into them races, because they don't seem to understand they have more tracks than 3 or 4 tracks on this game, and it's quite frustrating that every day you're going on there and it's a track that's been used 4 or 5 times in the last month, when there's no need for them to do that. You know, although GT Sport hasn't got the most tracks, it's not, you know, drastically shorter tracks. There's still variations of a lot of these tracks they could be using to just add some variety in there. I know the daily race B today is actually a variation of Suzuka, which I haven't seen on there in the Group 3. I've never seen it on there, but that doesn't really appeal to me. But it's good that they've added that in as a bit of variety. But then the daily race C, which is the race that most people want to race because it's a little bit longer, is back at Monza in the Group 2 cars, which I think this is the 4th time it's been on there in about 3 or 4 weeks. So it's a little bit frustrating the way they're constantly reusing these same races. I mean, there is tracks that have never been used in the Group 2 cars, which I don't understand why they're not using them tracks. Let's just hope that they take on board what people are saying, because it is becoming a common issue that a lot of people are getting frustrated with the variety in the track selection. And hopefully with the official FIA season starting and a more schedule based, you know, competition racing is going to start. I'm hoping that it's not just going to be the FIA nations and FIA manufacturers, and that's going to be the only championships we can enter, because to be brutally honest, I would be a bit disappointed with that. I would much prefer if we could also have some other championships to race in other than just them, and I think there's a lot of other people that would like that too. And like I say, it doesn't have to be like I say, where I would like the iRacing way of doing it, where you have the same track for a whole week and it's a championship with just Group 3 cars and then just Group 4 cars. And you know, if like iRacing does it, you can just have you can choose any car you want for each week. You're not restricted to a set car for the championship. It doesn't have to be like that. It can just be similar kind of way of doing it, but you can enter only one race. You know, on iRacing you can enter it 100 times if you want the race. You could enter it all day if you really wanted to. It's just options. I think they need to give more people options in this game, because at the moment, being able to race daily race A, which daily race A and B I don't tend to do as much as daily race C, because I'm not that interested in a 4-lap sprint race. They are great fun sometimes, they do give some good racing, but they're just over too quick. I want to be racing more endurance based racing, and I think there's a lot of people that also want this on GT Sport, and I think Polyphonic need to start opening up, you know, opening their eyes to what people are like on consoles. There's a lot of sim races on console that want these more realistic races. There's also a lot of people that don't, but you know, they're there for them. You've got the daily race A, B and C for them, and I think they just need to start thinking about other people on the game. And hopefully they're going to start listening, because it does need to improve, and I'm hoping that this update that may add in these leaderboards may have something to do with more variety in terms of races. As you know, when you look at GT Sport and only having a daily race A, B and C at the moment, so that's 3 races that you can race, it's not the greatest variety when you consider other games. I know, like, I won't even compare Forza, because Forza, let's be brutally honest, Forza's online is terrible. Project Cars 2 is terrible online. Even Assetto Corsa is not the best, although if you go on PC you can join up to a system that actually provides okay racing. But iRacing is the only other game that provides this level of racing in terms of how competitive it is, and in general how clean it can be. I do understand that the lower down you go in terms of like your driver rating and the safety rating, the racing does get a little bit more, you know, iffy to say the least. But that's the same on iRacing. If you go down into the lower ranks on iRacing, the racing can be quite bad on that, but in general in the higher ranks it's very clean. But iRacing has a lot of variety in there. It has I don't know, maybe 15-20 road championships, or maybe slightly less, I'm not too sure. It's more than 10 to 15 road championships. So you'll have a few default setup championships, you'll have the GT3 championship, you'll have the mixed race car championship with like the LMP cars, the GT cars, etc. And then it'll have also Porsche Cup championships. It has all these championships running that you can, you know, pick and choose. So every day, if you wanted to, you can pretty much race different tracks of your choice every day, or you can race this. If there's a track that you really like that week, you can just sit there racing that track all week and just do as you want. It's just more variety I think they need to add, and just try and bring a lot of people back, because I think a lot of people are getting a little bit frustrated with the lack of you know, variety and changes in terms of tracks, and the same tracks being used a lot. You know, a lot of people have mentioned about Suzuka getting used a lot. I do think some of that has been because of the BOP checks that they've been doing with the new cars that have been added. They try and BOP the Megane, I think, but I think they could have done it a little bit better than what they have. But let's just give them a chance. Let's see what they do with this when this official FIA season starts. Let's see the plan they've got, you know, in terms of how they're gonna do the championship, how often they're going to do it, whether they're going to split the days. Another thing is I would really like them to split the days that the Nations and Manufacturers Cup is on. That's one thing I think they really do need to do, because for myself it's quite hard to be able to race them both on the same day in terms of editing videos, getting videos out, practicing and stuff. It would be really nice if they said, well, here's one day for that. And you know, if they're going to do the same plan as they've done before, where they have 2 races a week, which I'm not sure whether they will. Maybe it will last a bit longer and they'll do one a week. But if they did do the 2 a week, maybe have one race on a Tuesday, say the Manufacturers, and then on a Wednesday have the Nations, and then on a Saturday have the Manufacturers, and then on a Sunday the Nations. Just so that then we've got 4 days in the week where we've got a bit of variety in there, and then we can do the other 3 days where we do the daily races. That's just my view. You know, if they aren't going to add in more races for us to race in, just do something like that, just so there's a bit more variety for us to do, and a bit more, more days where we can enter something FIA based with competition, because I think that's what this game needs. When the FIA was on pretty much every day, it was a lot more variety in there. There was more tracks you could do. It was a lot more enjoyable, I think. And since that stopped, I think you found a lot of people have been like, well, we've only got daily races to race now, and I don't like that race, so I'm not going to go on the game today. And you don't want that, because if you stop someone playing for a day, it only takes a day for some people to just get bored and move on to a different game, and I think Polyphony need to realise that. Anyway, I'm going to stop going on about this anymore. I think I've got my views across. I'm not having a moan about the game. I just want them to improve it, to bring more people into this game, because GT Sport is 100% the best competitive console racer there is. There's no other racing game on console that provides the racing that GT Sport does. No matter what people say, Forza, if you look at public lobbies in Forza, it's terrible. Project Cars 2 is great for online racing if you're in a league, but if you go in a public lobby, it's just not fun. I've been in them, and you still get people dive bombing from a mile back and wiping people out on purpose. It's still like that because there's no matchmaking system. So you're still entering races that have got say, like, it'd be like on GT Sport, A+ rated drivers racing against E rated drivers every race, and that for me is pointless. And that's why I'm gonna go probably back on iRacing also and do some iRacing as well. Continue with the GT Sport videos every single day, because GT Sport for me is the most fun game at the moment. But I want to do iRacing as well, because that's the only other game where you get that real sense of racing, where you actually feel immersed in the race. And I just want a bit more endurance-based racing, so I want to try and bring some of that to the channel. And hopefully, if I do it, it'll means that I'll be getting 2 videos a day, but GT Sport will be the priority video, and then I'll be adding iRacing as an extra video. Anyway guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please click that thumbs up. If you agree with what I've said, please leave in the comments about what you think about what I'm talking about in terms of variety, and also what you think might be added in with this update, if there's something that you think I might have missed. I don't think there's going to be massive content in this update. Like I say, we've just had a big update. This is very likely just a very small update, just to fix that bug, and just to maybe implement the leaderboards into the game. But if there's something that you think I might not have thought about, then just bring it up. I mean, there's a possibility that they could introduce the new tyre modelling before the official FIA season starts. I'm not too sure though, because I'm a bit confused that they didn't bring that into the game before on patch 1.19, because obviously if you're going to start a new FIA season, it seems strange to introduce a tyre model in midway through that FIA season. So maybe that's going to be a long way off, because I personally wouldn't, if I was running a game, I wouldn't say here's an FIA championship, just do your first 4 races, and then we're going to just say there's a new tyre model, everyone learn that and mix. It's just going to mess things up. If you're going to do a new tyre model, it needs to be in before the FIA season starts. So that is a very small possibility that it's coming. Maybe a couple of percent, very unlikely, but it could happen. But anything else, let me know in the comments, and make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Leave a comment, and also if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, we do upload every single day on this channel some great racing, some top tier racing. It's always obviously top splits, A+ rated drivers, and obviously not all the time in daily races, because it's a bit of a mixture, but normally the racing is very good. And make sure you subscribe if you want to see some of that racing. Thanks again for watching, everyone.